McGauley joins us from Hockey Systems here, and it's a wonderful segue. Now, I know you didn't have your headphones on, Ty, to listen to the Braden Coburn chat, but you heard what he said about the importance of minor hockey in Saskatchewan, or minor hockey, period, anywhere, which is what you do.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Welcome to the show, by the way. Pull that mic right in if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
And it's been a while since we had you on. So let's just reintroduce you to our viewers and just talk about Hockey Systems, if you don't mind.
So OHM represents a paradigm shift in the way we train hockey players. Our philosophy is that hockey is an obstacle-based game. The only logical thing is to train hockey players on obstacle-based development programs. So we took that philosophy, we made that into a hockey program. And, what makes us unique is that we take that program and we implement it in First Nation reserves. First Nations to us are the most neglected members of our hockey community. And, they do not have access to this level of development. So we can go in there. Due to the nature of our program, we're remotely accessible. So it's perfect to go into, remotely, neglected areas and to implement a hockey development program there.
So please tell our viewers what you told me in the break about the Notre Dame connection.
Well, John Cooper and Braden Coburn both went to Notre Dame. I went to Notre Dame as well. And my entire family actually went to Notre Dame. I was from 2003 to 2006, so Notre Dame is like a big impact on our family. And struggle and emerge is definitely something that's been a part of our our lives. And also, they had that saying, "To he who does what in him lies, God will not deny his grace." That's a big part of the McGauley family. So Notre Dame is a big impact, and they've had a big impact on many, many people throughout the country.
Luctor et Emergo.
Yes.
Both my brothers went there too.
Oh, right on.
Long story why I didn't, and that's not why you're here. So with your instructing of the First Nations players, I know we kind of got this, we chatted last time, and things have changed in the pandemic, right? We haven't had you on during the pandemic, I don't think.
I was on remotely once, I think right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning then, okay. So what's life been like for you in Hockey Systems in this environment?
We've been expanding. We're lean, we're light, we're a young company, so we're nimble. And we've expanded. We went into Enoch First Nation, the Enoch Cree Nation up in Edmonton. We're running their entire minor hockey
You were just
program.
going in there
Yes.
when we talked. Okay,
Yes.
So how's that going?
It's going great. We're running their entire development program for their entire 105 players, I think they're running their program. And, we're working to make that as sustainable as possible so that it can, run in perpetuity so that, when long after we're gone, they can run that program. So, this is what we're here to. We're here to make sure things are sustainable and that we can have a long-term impact on First Nation hockey development. So, we said when we first came here that we're going to expand into Alberta, and we've done that. And, pandemic or not, we don't even think about that. We're full steam ahead, and that's how we do it. And, the proof is in the pudding.
The one thing I'm seeing with return to play in hockey, I'm seeing a lot of videos on ice of kids.
Yeah.
You can't play against another team, but you can practice.
Yes.
So talk about that and how you're going about things that way.
Well, that's the unique thing of obstacle-based development. The obstacle is the trainer. So you can have multiple people, multiple age groups. Like we had professionals and peewee hockey players on the same ice in the summertime. So, and you can train kids in isolation in obstacle-based development programs. And I think that's something that a lot of communities are looking at right now is, to take this as a training year, to development year, get good, get better, sharpen those skills. And, when this pandemic lifts, we'll get back to normal. And when we get back to normal, we'll be, just at that much of a higher level.
So because you work in the industry, I haven't quite figured this out. What are the draft eligible kids doing? Because I know some are kind of losing it, right?
That's tough.
What are they saying?
It's a wait and see game right now. Everybody's waiting and seeing. A lot of it has to do with this vaccine that's coming through. A lot of it has to do with this second wave is going to hit. So right now, everyone's kind of in the holding pattern, and people are doing their best to develop at whatever rate that they can, whatever rate is available to them. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one thing I keep hearing from the scouts is that everybody's in the same boat. I'm not really sure what. Can you explain what that means? I haven't quite figured that out yet.
Well, I think in Canada, we have access to some arenas and you have access to certain types of development. But everyone is in the same boat because our iron sharpens iron, and the only real way to get really advanced in hockey is to have games, and everyone's in that same boat. So I think that's kind of like what they're alluding to.
Has to be. I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
I should ask, what specifically do you mean? But you answered it well.
Yeah.
By the way, one of our viewers, Troy, and can you please write in, Troy, how to say your last name? Because you comment enough, I'd like to do you the honor of saying your name properly. It looks like Troy Rich. He says, at least Saskatchewan has a plan to return to play for all ages except for the SJHL, which, by the way, that's on the SJHL. That's not on Sask Hockey or Sask Health. The SJHL needs to figure it out because they've been given the parameters. That's a whole other kettle of fish. But when you talk about Edmonton and your program up there, what does a guy like Ethan Bear starring with the Oilers do for First Nations youth?
Oh, it's incredible. Like First Nation people love hockey, and that's the connection here. When they see someone like Ethan Bear, it lights them up. And that's basically one of the reasons why we started this program, because we realized how important hockey is to First Nations culture. Like, we are about to go to La Loche up in northern Saskatchewan here, and La Loche is a severely, at-risk community. This is a community that had tremendous tragedy. They had a school shooting not too long ago. They have a suicide rate 20 times the provincial average in Saskatchewan,
which is high to begin with.
Yes, this is a community in crisis in the very essence of the word, and it's isolated, it's remote, and this is exactly a community that we're looking to service. Or this is why we're going up there. But there's a lot of problems with First Nations. There's a lot of problems with their community, and this is something where we're finding out as we talk to elders. Like I've had a lot of conversations with people that were in the community that work tirelessly to help these people, and help the elders tell me that the number one problem is trauma. It's trauma related, and a lot of that trauma is coming from residential schools. And OM is not an organization that's looking to put Band-Aids over bullet wounds and say, hey, thanks for trying, high five and let's get out of here. That's not what we're about. We're here to implement solutions to problems. And this is a massive problem, post-traumatic stress disorder in First Nations community. Like this, the suicides, the addictions, the alcoholisms, the abuse, the violence, that comes from something and comes from somewhere. And most of it comes from trauma from residential schools. And fortunately for us, there is a huge breakthrough in the way that we treat PTSD. MDMA therapy is a massive breakthrough. It's something that people know about now already. And it's having a 70 to 80% cure rate for PTSD. And it's, the Pentagon's been backing it since they had that suicide epidemic with their soldiers coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan.
Very popular with military.
Yes, and the FDA just gave it breakthrough therapy status. And, when I'm in, just for example, one of the studies they ran with, hardcore treatment-resistant PTSD, 83% of the participants in the study reported no symptoms after 2 to 5 sessions over 2 months. And this is something that's incredible. It's almost like a miracle. And when I talk, this is known in medical circles. It's definitely known in mental health circles, and it's known in First Nation circles. And when I talk to elders, they talk to me when this topic comes up, when MDMA therapy comes up. They said, the federal government is responsible for this trauma through these residential schools. The residential schools was a terrible, terrible mistake that we made. The least they can do is give us the tools to clean this mess up. To heal this trauma. We talk about reconciliation. The government always talks about reconciliation for these atrocities that were committed. You cannot have reconciliation if you do not heal the trauma that was inflicted upon these people. And you cannot heal the trauma unless you use the tools available to heal them. And so, they say, and I agree with them. I 100% agree with them. If there's, MDMA therapy has been around for a long time. They've had, studies for 20, 25 years. It's been backed by the MAPS organization. And, this is implemented in, like I said, in the military and elsewhere. And this is something that should be implemented in First Nation reserves, because this is a crisis in progress. When you have a community that has, 20 times the suicide rate of the provincial average, when you have First Nation children in the North 11 times more likely to kill themselves than the Canadian average federally, you have a crisis in progress that needs to be addressed immediately. And and I understand that there's medical things, there's hoops to be to jump through, T's to be crossed, I's to be dotted. But this COVID-19 thing is a perfect example of a medical emergency that the whole world is pushed behind. When they discovered COVID-19, they said that they'd have a vaccine readily available for the world within 18 months. So that's what we can do if we have our minds and our money pushed behind this and our motivation pushed behind something. And I think something like this, where we have MDMA therapy that we know works, we have the science backing it up, we have 25 years of science backing this up, we have FDA, that the federal or the Food and Drug Administration of the United States declaring it a breakthrough therapy status. We have to implement this into First Nation reserves. And we don't have that much time to waste. The house is burning. We have to put the fire out. And in Ohm, we are here to solve problems, and this is a problem that I keep hearing about over and over again. So I'm happy that I can go on a platform like this and talk about it, because this is something that definitely needs to be talked about.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So you see people writing in, great guest, you need to bring this to Manitoba. Where can people find out what Ohm's all about? So our social media channels, that kind of thing. Yeah,
well, our website, ohmhockeysystems.com, like omhockeysystems.com, we have everything there. You can also visit True North Aid. Yeah, they're a charity that we're partnered with. They have a Lightning Dawn development program, a Lightning Dawn scholarship fund for kids so that everybody can afford to make this program. With Ohm, we are here to spread this program as fast and as far as possible. And with obstacle-based development, we're about 10, 15 years ahead of the curve right now. So we want to make sure we get every benefit, squeeze every bit of the drop of that 10 to 15-year window that we have. So we're on the run. We're spreading it in Laurelage. We're spreading it into Enoch. We're going into different reserves. We'll go into Manitoba. And if anyone's listening to this that's from a distressed community up north, isolated, let us know. We will absolutely go up there and help you. That's what we're here for. So the door is open. Our ears are open. If that's something that you guys want, hit us up, because that's what we're coming.
Good for you. Yeah. That's some heavy stuff to do, but I can tell you're passionate about it.
It's work that needs to be done, so we're going to do it.
Good for you, man. Good to see you, Ty.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.